Welcome back, learners. So now we're going to go to our application questions that are still based on assets, based, and the pH value. So now let's see what our first question is. We are asked to fill in the missing words in these sentences so that the sentences are true and the sentences make sense. So question 1, something which shows whether a substance is an acid or a base by changing color when we add it to that substance. So what do we call that substance? It tells us, or it shows whether a substance being tested is acidic or basic or even neutral by changing color. So that substance is going to be an indicator. We know that we're pouring a few drops of the liquid indicators into the substance, or we just dip an indicator litmus paper into the substance so that we can observe the color change when that particular indicator is mixed with the substance being tested. We're observing the color change in those two instances when are we either using the litmus paper or the liquid indicators. So now question B, the pH scale ranges between the values of. So now we know that a pH scale has 7 in the center, there being neutral, so it starts from 0, goes all the way to 14, where if a number is less than 7 or if the pH value is less than 7, the substance is acidic. If the pH value is greater than 7, then the substance, it is going to be basic. If the pH value is 7, then the substance is going to be neutral. So therefore, the pH scale ranges between the values of 0 and 14 that we know. And then C, something have a pH values less than 7. So less than 7, we know that you're going to the left-hand side of 7. And we know that these substances that have a pH value that is less than 7, they are acidic. And the substances that have a pH value greater than 7, they are basic. So those are bases. And then therefore now, something, what is it between the two that have a pH values less than 7? We know that less than 7, acidic. So therefore acids. Acids have a pH value that is less than 7. Now, next question, again, we are still filling in the missing words so that the sentences that we are trying to complete, they make sense and they are true. So, bases have a pH value ranging between what? We know that for a base to be a base, it needs to have a pH that is greater than 7, not 7, greater than 7, and all the way to 14. So, therefore, we can say above 7 until 14. Until 14. We can also say x is greater than 7. At the same time, x is lesser or equals to 14, whereby x is that substance being a base. It needs to have a pH value that is above 7, and at the same time, it needs to have a pH value that is lesser or equals to 7. So anything that is above lesser or equals to 14, anything above 7 and 14 included and below 14, that substance within that range is going to be a basic substance. Now, E, something which are substances, they have pH values approximately that is equals to 7. So what is that substance? Or what substances have a pH value approximately equal to 7? We know less than 7, acidic, above 7, basic, then at 7, we have neutral substances that are neither acidic or basic. So we have neutral. So neutral substances have pH values approximately equal to 7. That we must always remember and not forget. Now, we are given a question where we need to use our imagination and think, so we need to put in our thinking caps and try to answer this question. So the question says, imagine we start a beaker of a clean distilled water, and then now we are starting with a beaker that has clean distilled water. Now, with that in mind, we need to answer the following question. What will be the pH of the clean distilled water? We know distilled water has a pH that is equals to 7 because it's neutral. It's neither acidic or basic. So therefore, this is going to be the pH of this substance is going to be equals to 7. Remember, when we are writing this, P must be lowercase and then H must be a capital letter. So it's a small letter P and capital letter H to show the pH. So the pH of the clean distilled water is 7. Now, how will the pH change if we add a small amount of acid? So we go to our pH scale. We are here now, 0 to 14. We are here. So when we add an acid into the distilled water, that means the substance or the solution of the distilled water and that small amount of acid is going to be more acidic. So it's going to be going now or favoring the side going to the left. So how will the pH change if we add a small amount of acid to the water? So the pH is going to decrease. pH will decrease. The solution is going to be more acidic or slightly acidic. Now, question C, how could we get the pH to increase? So how do we then increase the pH? So that means we need to add a base, or we need to remove the acid that was added. So if we are starting from this particular solution of the acid and the water, we need to remove the acid, so the pH is going to increase. Or we can just simply add more water. Remember that the water is neutral. So by pouring the water onto this solution, we are now neutralizing the acid within that water. So therefore, the pH is going to increase and go back towards 7 or go to 7. So we need to add more distilled water. Distilled water. Add more distilled water so that the pH can increase. So now, a few drops of universal indicator is added to an unknown solution. So we have an unknown solution. So on top of that, what we just answered now, they are adding something else now. It's an unknown solution. And remember, how do you test an unknown solution if it's acidic or basic or neutral? Remember, we do not taste. We use an indicator to check if whether it's acidic, basic, or neutral. So a few drops of a universal indicator is added to an unknown solution in a test tube. The color of the indicator changes to orange. So this is a clue that after adding the indicator into that unknown solution, the color change was orange. Now we know when we add an indicator into a certain substance of an unknown substance, in this case an unknown solution, if the indicator changes orange, that simply means the substance is acidic. So 0 to 14. So orange is just 7 here. It's just slightly below 7. So orange is just slightly below 7. And if it's below 7, we know that it's acidic. So therefore, the question is asking, what is the nature of the solution in this test tube? So because the indicator changed to orange, that tells us that the substance that was in that particular test tube was acidic in nature. So it was acidic in nature. There. So what is the approximate pH range of this solution? We just said this solution, if it's acidic in nature, that simply, remember that we don't have a specific pH value for this particular solution because it's unknown. But all we know that this substance turned a universal indicator orange, which then translates to that the substance is acidic. Now, if it's acidic, it must have a pH that is ranging between 0 and less than 7. So it needs to be less than 7. So therefore, what is the approximate pH range of the solution? So it needs to be less than 7. Because if it's 7, it means it is neutral. And then if it's greater than 7, it means it is basic. So it's a base, neutral, and acid. So it needs to be then 7. There we go. So now, before moving on, we are just going to quickly go for a short break, and I'll see you just after this.